Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to Singing Creek Farm. This is Devona. How old are you, Devona?
6.
She is 6 years old, and we are going to talk about, oops, something fell over. We're going to talk about seeds today. I was so excited. We just got back from lunch with Nana. We had Easter egg hunt.
Yeah.
And really yummy lunch, and I came home and was so overjoyed to find this package waiting for me in the mail, and it was my really big seed order of the year from Baker Creek Seeds, which is rareseeds.com. Try not to bump the table, okay, because it'll move my camera. And I was so excited because everyone was going to be down for a nap except for Devona here, and I was already dolled up for Easter, and so I was like, what a perfect moment. It's the very beginning of gardening season. I've had so many people ask me what I plant in my garden, and so I thought I would today let you into the vault of seeds that I have, and I'm going to let you know right now that I do know I have a problem. But I know people worse than me, so therefore I don't have a problem that needs fixing. So as far as seed storage goes, I've tried to organize things here a certain way, but I have this package. It's a big zipper pouch that was a part of one of my kids' gifts a long time ago, but it is in a waterproof package minus the zipper, so it's a pretty safe thing to keep the seeds in. But I also have this, and I need to get another one, but I have this 4x6 photo storage, and this is perfect for seed packages. And then of course you can put all your favorite stickers and stuff on top, and I've just labeled each individual little package in here. It has a handle, but mine fell off. You can get these at Michael's on sale for like $15. They're not very expensive. But then inside, what you'd normally put pictures in, you can put your seed packages and have them all organized how you want it. So I love this. It's double waterproof because it's got the packages inside, and then it's got this. Just try to store your seeds in somewhere that's a little bit cool and dark and dry. So if you have like a closet that is air conditioned, something like that would be great. You do not want your seeds getting wet, and you don't want them to have any sunlight on them, because then they could get started, and that will affect the longevity of how good your seeds are good for. So to get into this, I thought instead of just showing you all my seeds, I would do them in categories. That way, if you know you're not going to plant something and you don't want to watch this entire video, then you can just kind of skip along. I'll try to put a big header of like the new category. So if you want to fast forward until you see a category that you are interested in, then you can go ahead and watch that. So as far as where I am, just keep that in mind as far as what I'm planting. I am in growing zone. I'm right on the line of 7A and 7B. I am in close to the mountains of East Tennessee. And so some things I can grow here, you won't be able to grow where you are. And some things you can grow, I won't be able to grow. It really kind of depends on where you're at. Some places that are warmer, like Florida, they actually grow their tomatoes in the winter, whereas we can only do it in the summer. So there's some things like that that really change stuff. So just kind of keep that in mind as you look through. But these are things that really have worked well for me here in East Tennessee in the South. And another thing I wanted to hit on is, if you have not gardened before, I wanted to show you how to read a seed package. So I had 2 seed packages I wanted to show you all. The first one is gonna be these are beets, and this is the front of it. I obviously got it on sale at the end of the last season for $1, but on the back of it, you are going to see all of this information. And I really feel sorry for people who have to write on seed packets, because there's a lot of information to pack into, I don't know, a 4x3 little square. But if you'll look on here, there's all sorts of info down here, and I'll move my fingers so you can see this too. So one of the first things I wanted to talk to you about was the expiration date. So in the United States, you are not allowed to sell seeds that were created for 1 year into the next year. So you cannot sell a 2023 seed into 2024, and that's so that everyone knows that they are getting viable seeds and that they're not just buying seeds that someone packaged that they found that were 10 years old and thrown out there. Now that said, this is not a gallon of milk. This is not going to expire in a year. In fact, most of these would probably still sprout in 2 to 3 years later, and I'd probably have at least half of them sprout 5. And I have found seed packets that were 10 years old, stuck them in the ground, and they still work. So it's really more about how they're stored, and if anything, your germination rate will go down. But I would say if it's an older seed packet, go ahead and just plant double, but never ever hesitate at the end of the season when you see, like this year, all the 2024 seeds on sale. Buy them up and store them well, and then do not hesitate to put them in the ground in 2025. It's a really great way to save a lot of money. These seed packets are usually like $3.49, and I paid $1. So imagine if I bought all my seeds like that for the following season, I would be saving a lot of money. Another thing to look at on this package is going to be all of this information here on the top, and these will all have them in different places, but it will say how to grow it, like plant in February and June or August and September, location, full sun, plant at 1/2 inch deep, 1 inch spaced, and it germinates in 5 to 10 days, and your days to harvest is 55 days. So here's some things that are important to you. Days to germinate. Why is that important? If these were a summer seed, these are a spring seed. So when it said plant in February to June or August and September, you can tell that this is a spring plant. This is frost hardy. It will even say that on the package that it is frost hardy. So that means you can plant this in the spring or in the fall and it will do its best. It can handle when the temperatures get below 35 degrees, 33 degrees. It can handle maybe 25 degrees. Now you will start to have issues if it's like 75 degrees one day and then it's suddenly 30 degrees. But generally speaking, these plants are frost hardy. So that means that you can plant them whenever, I would say my rule is for these peas and a lot of other stuff for me in East Tennessee is Valentine's Day. I will plant these, which is February 14th, which does line up with what it said here. And then whenever I pull out my summer garden, these go into the ground. So that germination is really important when you think about something like a tomato plant. So this germinates, let's see, it doesn't say on this one, but it is important to realize as far as like, it does 7 to 14 days. So let's pretend that I am 3 weeks away from my last estimated frost date. You can Google it and you will instantly figure out what it is for your area. Just put in your zip code and it will tell you what your last estimated frost date is. You want to plant all of this cold weather crop well before that frost date, your last frost date. But all of this cannot be above the ground until after your last estimated frost date. And check the weather. If you're within a week of your last estimated frost date or a few days away, go ahead and check the weather. Make sure you're not going to have some random 10-year crazy forecast happen where it does have a cold snap. But if you put these in the ground or you start them inside and you move them outside, if you get a frost, it's going to kill all of your plants. So you do not want to do that. You don't want to waste the seed. It is okay to have them in the ground, and if they have not sprouted yet, you're safe. But as a general rule, just don't put them in the ground until your estimated last frost date. So that is some information as far as the seeds go. If you want to know if it's a cold weather crop or a hot weather crop, all you have to do is look at the back and it'll tell you whether it's frost hardy or not. Like you see right here, frost hardy, no. So if it's not frost hardy, this is a summer crop. So you want to know what your last frost date is. A lot of people will put it as like a countdown on their phone, and then that will be your growing guide for everything. Another last thing I wanted to say is I do get asked about Do I need to buy organic seeds? Do I need to buy non-GMO? Like all of those things. Like what is important when I want to do my own gardening? So first of all, it is a common misconception that you can actually buy GMO seeds. You can buy GMO food, but you cannot buy GMO seeds. Genetically modified seeds are patented, and you have to have a contract with the person who owns the patent in order to plant those seeds. So that's like all of these massive corn crops, soy, all of that sort of stuff that commercial growers are doing. Those are all seeds that they have a contract with the patented seed manufacturer in order to plant. In the United States, a common gardener, or even someone, like you would have to have like this huge business and a contract, but you cannot go to the store and buy a GMO seed. You cannot. Now, a lot of places will, I don't know if I have any right in front of me, a lot of places I'll see it'll say non-GMO on the package, but I think that's just because they get that question asked so much that they put it on there just to have an answer for people. But it is not possible for you to go buy genetically modified seeds in seed packets. It's just not possible. So you can go ahead and just throw that worry out of your head. There is a talk of hybrid versus heirloom, and that is different. An heirloom seed is a seed like this Cherokee purple tomato. This has existed for well over 100 years. It has been bred the exact same over and over and over and over and over again. If I plant the seed from the fruit of this Cherokee purple tomato, then I will get a Cherokee purple tomato. It'll be the exact same when I save the seeds from it. It'll be the same purple tomato. Now, if I were to plant a hybrid, I'm trying to see if I have, I don't do as many hybrids. They have a lot of really good places in the world, but a hybrid is not bad. But what it is they've taken two tomatoes. I'll just grab the two I have on top. For instance, tomatoes are a really popular one that's hybrid beans, but that's where you have the properties of two tomatoes and they pollinate with each other. And then the seed from that has created a tomato you really like. And so that will then be planted and you will get that hybrid named tomato. But listen, because it's only been through one generation or a few, when you then take that fruit and you take the seed out of it and you plant it, you don't know what you're gonna get. You know you're gonna get a tomato, but you may get something that resembles one of the parents instead of them both of them blending together to give you that what that hybrid was. So it gets a little complicated. A lot of people do like heirlooms if they're avid gardeners, because honestly, I could just buy this one pack of seeds ever, and then I would have all the supply I ever want of Cherokee purple tomatoes, because I can plant this, I get all the plants from it, I get all the fruit, and from 5 tomatoes, I save over 1,000 seeds, and then I have seeds all that I need for a while, and I can just keep saving the seeds, and I know every time I'm gonna be getting a Cherokee purple tomato. Hybrid plants are not bad. They just are harder to save the seeds from because you don't know exactly what you're gonna get as far as the quality of the product. So I hope that answers your question about what is heirloom, what is hybrid, can I get GMO? As far as organic goes, I do prefer to buy organic things, but honestly for me, as far as like the nutrients of what's in it, I don't think it's going to change anything when it's just the seed. I think what's far more important for you to spend your money on is really good soil, really good compost, and I don't think that you should be putting chemicals and fertilizers on it that are non-organic. I think that's where there's a problem. But I have no problem personally buying a seed that doesn't say it's organic if I can't find it, or if it's a really good deal, because it's just the seed. It's not anything past that germination. It's not going to affect the nutrition of it or anything like that, in my opinion. I am not a licensed scientist. I'm not a biologist. I'm just someone who's been gardening for a really long time. And as far as the quality goes, I have never noticed a difference. All right, so now we're gonna get into the seeds, and I'm gonna start by doing the cold weather crops first because we're in this time of spring gardening season. In fact, I'm late. I'm honestly not doing much of a spring garden this year. We got really sick for like the entire month of February. It was so brutal. We were really, really sick. And just like in the last 2 weeks have we started to not be sick all the time. But even then, it's like we've still been hit by 2 stomach bugs this month. So that said, I just had to decide I can't do it. I cannot do a big spring garden. That's a big spring garden. That's hard to say. A big spring garden this year. I just didn't have it in me. I'm the one who does the garden. And honestly, the spring weather crops we do eat some of, but as far as like eating a lot of salads and greens and things like that, I'm primarily the one that eats those, or I'll put it in soups and stuff like that. So what I did instead is I've got 2 green stalk towers, and I'll shoot a video of them and show you that outside. And I have decided just to plant one of those out full of greens and lettuces and collards and all of those things. And then that's gonna be my spring garden. I have pots that will fill up with carrots, and I will put snap peas out in the garden, but that's it. I'm not planting out the garden with kales and all of that stuff this year just because I'm past the date. We were all really sick, and I'm gonna choose to give myself grace on that. But I still have the seeds because I have a seed hoarding problems. So I thought I would go ahead and show you all, if I were gonna plant a huge spring garden, what would I plant? And I'll show you what I did actually plant in my smaller version of it all too. So to start us out, I wanted to show you all the beets and roots stuff that you can plant. We kind of already started. These are just jewel-toned beets, red, gold, and candy stripe. There is a chemical in beets that gives them that earthy flavor. In fact, that flavor, it's in the soil. So that smell you get after it rains actually comes from that same chemical. And it is in beets, and that's how it gets that like almost bitter earthy flavor. And some people are not a huge fan of it, and I'm one of those people that really wants to like beets, but was never a huge fan because of it. And if you eat the gold or candy striped beets, the striped ones here, and I have the yellow ones somewhere, they have far less of that chemical in it that gives it that flavor. So I plant a lot of those just because that's what I prefer. Unfortunately, you will not see me planting many beets at all anymore because my doctor told me I can't eat them anymore. Because I was getting a bazillion kidney stones, and there's apparently oxalates in beets. I didn't know what an oxalate was, now I do. Anyway, I have all these beet seeds that I won't use, so I'll be giving these to friends. But if I were to plant beets, I would plant, I have a few packs of these that I got on sale, and I would plant all of these. They've got my 3 favorites, which is just a red beet, gold, and candy stripe. The gold and candy stripe are my personal favorites. And then I would also be planting these. I love a Detroit dark red beet. If I'm gonna be like, I will often use beet juice to dye things. So like if I make a red velvet cake, I will use beet juice, and since it's paired with chocolate, you don't taste the beets at all, and it saves you from having tons of that terrible like red food coloring. This is amazing. You can dye eggs with it. There's so many things. You can dehydrate them and turn it into a powder and use it for energy powders and stuff. So there's a lot of uses for these versus just eating them raw, and that's one thing I would use these dark red ones for. And then other root veggies that are really good for spring are crimson giant radishes. They are my favorite radish. You can also do white turnips. There's all sorts of yummy things. I was really excited to do these, but I ran out of time, and they are a black Spanish radish. I was really curious to see what they look like inside. Hello, this is future Danielle, and I'm going to go back in the past and talk about carrots. These are carrots. My kids love carrots. If there was one thing that's their favorite collectively, it's probably carrots. Salem, my middle child, keeps asking, are the carrots ready? Are the carrots ready? And they're not. So we plant a lot of carrots. We do them mostly in grow bags because the soil's a lot looser and they're easier to harvest and I can move them around. But we have a bunch and they're really fun. We'll do lots of colors of them. So this was just a free seed I got. It's called Coral. This one I'm excited about. I haven't done this before, but look at it. Isn't that cool? Yeah, it's like purple on the outside and orange on the inside. It's called Lila Lusang. I've done one a lot like that. And then these you can find almost anywhere, just these rainbow seed packages. I have quite a few of those. These Nantes carrots are one of my favorites. We've also got these tender sweet ones we've liked. More of the Nantes, more rainbow. Let me sit and look through these. Oh, here's more of the purple ones. Now these are really good too. These are Kyoto red carrots. These are one of my favorite eating carrots. And this is a new one that I have not tried called Pusa Aceta Black. It's a really good one as well. And then those are our carrots. Onions. So I'm gonna be doing onions from seed this year. I've always been doing them from bulbs, but I've been unhappy with how big the bulbs get. So I heard that if you plant from seed versus from the bulbs, that the heads of the onions will get a lot bigger. So I will let you know, we'll see. So I've got just red onions, I've got yellow onions, more red onions, and then I've got some shallot seeds. I'm very curious to see if these actually turn out like real shallots. These are called Zebrun shallots. I love shallots, but I've only been able to find like the shallot heads to plant. And all the ones I've seen, it's like I could buy the actual shallot in the store a lot cheaper. And I haven't found like true shallot seeds. So I'm gonna see if this ends up being it. I will let you know. So those are a spring weather crop. And these are one of the things actually you can plant in the spring and let grow all the way through summer. This is like an anytime crop, really. I will even like sow these in the fall and then harvest like mid-December. So another cool weather crop is all of your brassicas. If I were to plant cabbages, I like fictional Danielle, she gets a lot done. So if I were to plant cabbages, I absolutely love the glory of, I cannot pronounce it, anquizin, but this is my favorite one to plant here. Also a good one is Market Early cabbage. And as far as my favorite purple, I like these Tete Noir. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you like perfect pronunciations, you are in the wrong spot. So you're just gonna have to go with it. You can read. So I really like these for a dark purple cabbage. I also really like a Napa cabbage. I really like those. They're really good for pickling. So if you have those, I really like those. You can also, let's see, I've got rutabaga. That should be with the root veggie stuff. But broccolis, there's a lot of hybrids for broccoli. This is the Destiny hybrid. It's done okay. I feel like whenever I plant broccoli, it's like either I get a ton of it and it does amazing and I have so much, or I get none, or like little heads like this. And I've never been able to tell what I did differently. It was just how it went. And here's Brussels sprouts. Now, some of my favorite things, I love having a garden where I can experience things that I would never get to unless I grew it. And this is one of those things, and it's my absolute favorite. And it is Romanesco Italia. It is so pretty. This is a broccoli. It is so fun. I believe there's a cauliflower that looks kind of like it too. But there's also, I really like these rapini broccolis. They're even better when you let them sprout just a little bit, like in the picture, and you saute them. and it's like little pops when you like eat it. It is so good. So those are my broccolis, and I'll still get to plant all of this in the fall. So I'm not totally missing out, but I am a bit. I have a lot of kale. A little ashamed. So my top favorite kales are lacinato kale. And someone tell me, is there a difference between lacinato kale and dinosaur kale? Because I love both of them, and I feel like the dinosaur might be a slightly deeper color, but they may be the exact same thing. So this is lacinato kale. It looks like that. I also really like this Toscana kale. This is my favorite for zuppa Toscana soup, and I'm assuming that's why it's called that. And then I really love scarlet kale, which is a really pretty purple kale. I have more of that. Now, if you want just like a straight kale, like just a normal kale, like for salads, that's really tender, I recommend a Scotch curled. And this is, I'm so sad, we had a seed store. We go and buy seeds by the scoop, and it was so cheap, but it's closed now, so I just have what I have left. But here's a picture of it, of a smaller seed package. Like, listen, these were the same, and this is like full of seeds, and listen to this. Like, I'm so sad that place closed. There's also Siberian, and then here's the dinosaur kale. It's almost like a deeper color, but I've seen where some people, it's like they call this lacinato, so I'm not sure, but those are my favorite kales. It's mostly lettuces in here, but I'm just going to show you what we have. So one of my favorite things to eat are bok choy, and they're really expensive to buy or hard to find, so I love to grow them. I love making pho or ramen here, and I will just have one head of these that are younger and tender, pop it in with the ramen at the very last second, and then it's just like, oh, it's so good. It's also good in like any kind of stir fry. I like these cooked best, but I'm sure they're good raw. These are kohlrabi. I've only successfully grown these twice, and I didn't know what to do with them, but I kind of treated it like a purple cabbage turnip mixture thing. It was good, I will give it that. Celery should not be in this. It is a summer veggie. Pickles, no sir. So another thing you can grow are your chards. So we've got Swiss chard and rainbow Swiss chard. This, if you've never had it before, does have a very earthy flavor. So if you really like beets, you're gonna love this. And if you hate beets, you're not gonna like this. So there's your guide to Swiss chard. But I love the 5-color one because it is so pretty. I'm not a huge fan of chard, but I will plant a few just because it's so pretty to look at. Another thing you can plant is collard greens. I really do like this one. I do prefer the darker collards. I've got more, kale is hiding in here too. Here's more Swiss chard. You can get it where it's that ruby color. I think that, yeah, it's called ruby Swiss chard. So there's another chard. I also got some free seeds with the place I ordered seeds through. We've got some lettuces. Got more of my bok choys. Now, one thing I will get, well, used to, is just a pack of salad bowl lettuce. And I'll get like a whole bunch of seeds in here. I'll have a garden bed ready, and I'll just sprinkle these on top, and then that way I can harvest them as little baby leaves instead of like the big adults, if you want it that way. We've got arugula. I really love this Grandma Hattie's lettuce. It's got little red tips on it. And I love, love, love purple lettuce. I really like this Merlot. A very popular lettuce for our area is black-seeded Simpson. It's a really good one. And then if you want to harvest any seeds like as a head, I really recommend romaine lettuce. And there are a few here that I highly recommend that I do not have because I used it all last season. And again, I knew I wasn't doing much of a spring garden this year. So I love oak leaf lettuce, and it actually looks like an oak leaf. It is really tasty, and it's fun to have in the garden to have kind of break up the normal look of a lettuce leaf. And I also love butter crunch lettuce. It is so crisp. It's like the perfect one to put on a hamburger. It is so good. It's great in salads, but I love to just take like a combo of all of these lettuces, and again, just have like a big patch ready, and I'll just sprinkle in lines, or I'll just kind of sprinkle them all together. And it's like this really cool, when it grows, it's just visually very stimulating, where it's either all these like stripes of different lettuces, and you'll have the different colors kind of cut up and the different shapes of the leaves and stuff, and then you can just kind of harvest it as you go. Honestly, when you grow these by yourself versus at the store, there's so much flavor just in these that my favorite thing is to just a little olive oil, a little lemon juice, a little salt, and that's my dressing. It is so good. Do you have one of these that's your favorite, Devona? No, not a huge lettuce fan, that one. Those are the greens. The purple lettuce, you did grow that in your garden last year. So the very last thing for spring is our favorite, our absolute favorite. Do you know what it is, Devona?
Oh yeah, peas.
We love sugar snap peas at this house. So I bought these jumbo packages on sale last year. I love the Cascadia Sugar Snap. There's also a big Sugar Daddy. Here it is, Snap Sugar Daddy. That's really good. But we love Sugar Snap peas, and they're different than snow peas because the shell is like bigger and like it just has more filling to it, whereas the snow peas are really thin. Almost look like they've been vacuum sealed. But we plant these usually on Valentine's Day and let them grow until the heat kind of kills them out, and then I'll replace whatever was on their trellis with beans. But these are really prolific. They're delicious. If you think you like snow peas at the store, or sorry, snap peas at the store, like these are gonna blow you away, especially if you put them in the fridge for a little bit and they're a little cold, but like you all will go out to the garden and just eat them. How many of these do you think you can eat at a time? 10. Oh my goodness. And the kids love to like peel them and like get the little like peas out of it. It is so much fun. If you plant one thing for spring, plant these. You can even do it right. I'm late. I haven't put them in the ground yet, but I'm going to do it today. And we'll still have peas. It's very forgiving, very frost hardy. Don't have to worry about it. And I think that's it for our spring garden. There are more things you can do for spring. A lot of people do a spring potato. I have stopped growing potatoes because I have such a bad potato beetle problem that it takes so much work for me to grow just my grow bags of potatoes. If I did them in the ground, we have moles and that messes it up. And honestly, we don't eat that many potatoes. We'll have mashed potatoes like maybe once a month, but that's pretty much it. If we eat potatoes, it's usually we've bought someone else who has made them fried in French fries. You like French fries, don't you? Mm-hmm. So because we don't eat a lot, I really try to grow things that either I can't experience if I don't grow it, or will replace from my grocery shopping list. And because so far the potatoes haven't really done either of those things for me, I haven't done it. Now I do grow a lot of sweet potatoes, but that is a summer crop, so you can't plant those yet. But we do eat a lot of sweet potatoes. I found them more versatile. I'll probably get hate for that. But okay, are we ready to go into the summer season? If you thought I had a lot of seeds for spring, you're about to really think I have a problem. Okay, so summer crops. These are things that you can put in the ground as soon as you're past your last frost date. Again, check the weather forecast. Make sure you're not having a freak cold day coming up. But once you're past that day, you are going to be golden. One thing you can do if you want to cheat and have things a lot sooner, which is something I have always done, is start seeds inside ahead of time. And it's another way to actually save a lot of money. You will have to spend money up front in order to have a setup. But there's even ways to do that really cheap by just growing in a window. You don't have to have grow lights and things like that like I do, but where I've been doing this for a long time and will even sell my extra plants, I've already it's already paid for itself, and it's only been a few years, so it's more than paid for itself. So that's something to look into. I will start most of these plants 4 to 8 weeks indoors before they go outside. It depends on the plant. Like peppers seem to grow really slowly for me, so I start them like 8 weeks ahead. Herbs will grow slowly. That's another thing I'll start ahead. Tomatoes, it's 4 to 6 weeks pretty much. I'm still playing with, because they grow faster than you think, but I also want them a certain size so I can bury them deep. So I'm still kind of playing with that to get that perfect, but 4 to 6 weeks, probably like 5 weeks is perfect. So I'll plant them inside, let them get a certain size, and then they're plants by the time I take them outside and put them in the garden. And it saves me a lot of money. Just buying one tomato plant is like $4 or $5 now, which is insane to me. I can buy this one seed packet with like 30 seeds in it for $3, like $3 or $4 max. And even these are more expensive than they were. But again, if I save the seeds from this, I'll never have to buy it again. So, yeah, also keep in mind, I do sell a lot of plants, and my most requested are my tomato plants. And so because of that, I have a problem. I have so many. Most of these I have actually grown before, but there's a few varieties that are new that I am really excited about to try. So Cherokee Purple is one that people highly requested I grow so they can buy plants from me. It is a big red tomato that has some purple streaks, especially if you cut into it. And it's one that does really well in our area, so I think that's why it's highly requested. Now, this is a new tomato I have not tried. It is called Queen of the Night, and it is a grape or cherry style tomato. It's more of like a small snacking one. Do you want to see it, Devona? I got a new one. It's a lot like your favorite, but it looks a little different. We shall see what that looks like. Now, this is Devona's favorite tomato. Do you want to tell them about the black strawberry tomato?
I love them. They're like really juicy.
Yeah, they kind of explode when you bite into them, don't they?
There's also like things that we put on ice cream that my mommy asked about. That's like those, but a little less juicy.
Oh, like cherries?
Like,
they're like a cherry?
Yeah, like inside of it, it's some of it is like soft. It's like soft. Like smooth and soft.
Yeah. So the flesh on these is slightly thick, but honestly, I don't mind because that makes it a little bit hardier. But I love also how they grow on a vine, if you can see that. So it's so fun to just like snip off the vine and have this whole vine of these gorgeous rainbow colored little cherry tomatoes. They're so good. And they get kind of big. They get about like this big. Really good stuff. This is another one of our favorites, and it's in the same vein, but it's a grape tomato, and it's Brad's Atomic Grape. Brad is a guy who is like known for changing up tomatoes and he's in California. He's like bred tons of like the most popular, like crazy awesome tomato plants that are out there. So this is one of his. I want to say he did the black strawberry, but I'm not totally sure. It might say on here. Nope. Okay, so this is another one I've grown before, and it's called the Pink Jazz, and it is really pretty, and it's a lot like a watermelon tomato if you've ever done that, but it's really big and juicy. I love this one. This is one of my tops. It is a Dr. Wyche's yellow tomato. I may be saying that wrong, Wyche's maybe, but when I make my salsa, I believe it's this tomato that really makes it different. Everyone thinks when I make my salsa that I put fruit in it, like peaches or mangoes, and I do not. It is only tomatoes. I have tried to make it with tomatoes I can buy from the store. I'll even buy like the locally grown ones at the store, and it does not taste the same because everyone's like, oh, sell your salsa, and I didn't have enough tomatoes from the garden to like have enough to stockpile for us all year and sell a bunch of it. I only had like 5 to 10 extra jars, so I was like, I'd rather just, you know, give these as gifts. So I was like, well, I'll see if I can make it with stuff I can just buy at the store and just kind of figure out what the cost would be. But it just wasn't the same. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't like that amazing salsa that you can make just from having all these heirloom tomatoes. But I think if you're going to do that, if you're going to plant one tomato out of all of these I'm showing you, please let it be either the black strawberry or the Dr. Weich's, however you say it. Another one of the MVPs is a Paul Robeson. It is an heirloom. It's just a good like everyday tomato. This is another one that I would highly suggest you grow. This is a new one. It is a great tomato. It is called Blush Tiger. I'm excited about this one. You can see?
Yeah.
Devona and I love tomatoes. I grew this one last year and it was one of my absolute favorites. It was so fun to grow, and it is the orange accordion, and yes, it looks exactly like that. It is so cool to watch it grow. It reminds me of what are those dogs? It's not a pug, but it's the similar coloring where it's just like they're so wrinkled. It like kind of looks like this, I feel like. Someone comment and tell me what it is. This is one I've grown a lot. It's the Black Beauty tomato. It is really pretty on a salad. Flavor-wise, I would say it's very similar to the Paul Robeson, but it doesn't get like as big usually. I have another Paul Robeson. I got 2 of those. This is one of my favorites. I would put this right up there with the Dr. Weich's. The Sartre Rouleaux. This actually was on the cover of this seed company's magazine this year because it's so pretty. And this is one of my all-time favorites. As long as I have a garden, this will be in the garden. It's a really big, hefty tomato, and it's yellow and purple, and it's so juicy, but it's also meaty. So it's like it really holds itself together. I just love it. It is one of the best. This is a new one. This is an orange peach. It looked really good to me, and the shape of it looked really interesting. I think this one will be perfect to add to salsa. This is one of my favorites. It is a big rainbow, and it really is a big rainbow. And this is also one of my favorites, Thornburn's Terracotta. I've always grown this one as well. I like the color of it on the inside, and it just has a really good flavor. This is a new one for me. It's a black cherry tomato. It looks to be just more of a traditional cherry tomato with some black thrown in it. I've noticed that I like weird plants. Do you want to see it?
I like cherry tomatoes.
Yeah. I've noticed I like growing things that are weird and like really colorful. And when I went to sell them, people were like, what is that? And they would get like one plant, but they'd be like, do you have any millionaire tomatoes? Or, you know, the like Cherokee purple, or like just the things that they were used to seeing. And not as used to just whatever the seeds I could find. So I tried to get a few like classic beefsteak tomatoes. So I could start those and give the people what they want. But I also hope that people got to explore an adventure last year with some of the plants I started, and that they're excited to do that again. So I will have a few more normal ones like these classic beefsteak. This is a really good one for like slicing and putting on a hamburger. Another one they asked for was Brandywine, and this is a true black version. I love this tomato. It is a pineapple tomato, and it actually does have a little bit of a pineapple fruity flavor to it. I love this one on a tomato sandwich. Like, I cannot wait to make my sourdough, make some mayonnaise, and then just go out there with a knife and make some really good tomato sandwiches and some salt and pepper. Can't forget that. And then here's again what they asked for, the millionaire tomato. I'm probably not going to plant a ton of the basic tomatoes in my garden because I can buy those at the store and they'll still be a lot better from the garden, but I'll have all these other ones. And then this is the new one I'm really excited about. Do you see? So this is the Woolly Kate yellow tomato. All right, we have our littlest one. Brielle has joined us. She just woke up from her nap and wanted mommy to hold her. So I thought I would go through, that's the majority of the tomatoes. I thought I would go through the ones that I have partial seed packets of. And let you know if you have, I like the Blue Beauty. I don't think we've done that one. That one's almost gone. A lot of these are empty, but I like to keep the package to remind myself, hey, you've used all of this, you need to order more. So again, the Sartrelois. Yeah, most of these are the same of that, but it's just where I ordered more. Oh, this is a fun one. So another really fun tomato, if you have children, are these spoon tomatoes, and they really are that tiny. So you can literally just have like a spoonful of these really tiny little tomatoes. They're so fun. I will say they are a booger to pick because they're that tiny. So it takes, you have to be a little patient, but they're so fun. And the kids love just have like, they're perfect for them. They're so teeny tiny. Oh, San Marzano, that's one I still need to order more of. San Marzano are my favorite sauce tomato. They originate from Italy and they are so good. I will all the time have people walk by my San Marzano tomato plants and they're like, what is that smell? Like what herb do you have planted right here? Like what's that smell? It smells so good. And it's the tomato plants. Like they have like just like an herby, herbaceous scent to them, and they just have such a good flavor for making sauce that they are by far my favorite tomato for that purpose. Do you like tomatoes? No. Do you know what a tomato is? No. So my family eats a lot of snacking peppers, so I like to grow these little snacking peppers. One of my favorite snacking peppers and cooking peppers are these Lacia peppers, and I may be saying that wrong, but they're also really good to stuff. They're like a really good size and they're fun. I also have a bunch of just traditional red bell peppers. Oh, there's a leak. Orange bell peppers. One of my favorites is a shishito pepper, and these are really good sauteed. And then that's just another big red. There's a few new ones I haven't tried. One of them is a Purple Beauty. It looks like a really fun little snacking tomato. Not tomato, pepper. I have more Lacia peppers. I also haven't tried these before, the Pippin's Golden Honey. I'm pretty sure these are not hot. I'll tell you right now, I do not plant spicy peppers in my garden because I have little children and I want them to be able to go into the garden and eat anything that they find and not worry about it setting their mouth on fire. So I'm like, any of these new ones I haven't done yet, I will look them up prior to putting them out there and just make sure that it's safe. I did get one package of jalapenos because I do like jalapenos and I use them in a lot of cooking. For us adults, I like them stuffed, but what I've decided to do is not plant these in the garden. They are going to be outside of our fence in probably pots or even in the ground, but just outside of the garden so that the kids know do not eat those. They're in a totally separate zone and it'll be easier for them to avoid it. I've heard these were really good. Ozark Giant is supposed to be a huge bell pepper. These look really fun, and I've heard they're actually really good pickled. I don't know if I can pronounce them. Bequinho yellow, but don't they look fun? I bet these pickled and just thrown on top of some veggies would be really good. Again, just another big bell pepper. I'm excited to try this one, see how dark it gets. But yeah, those are my peppers for this year. I've got some okra I'm planning to do. I'm not a huge okra fan. I really wish I was. I feel like I'm not a real southerner because I'm not such a huge okra fan. I actually prefer it really young and raw. I like to just pick it and eat it when it's young and tender. So I'm going to plant some of it, but not a ton, just because we don't eat a lot of it. And it is the Clemson spineless okra. And there's also one, I believe, called Alabama Red, and it's in here somewhere, but it's in the wrong seed package. And that one's a red one, and it is just really pretty. Even the plant has some red on it. And that one's really good too. And it's like a short little fat knobby one. It is really fun. So next we're gonna go into cucumbers, and I will do traditional, like just normal burpless cucumbers. I don't have any of those yet, but I did want to tell you about 2 cucumbers I do really like. One of them is called a silver slicer, and I need to get more of those. But they're like a white cucumber, and they actually stay really good late into summer. I feel like a lot of my cucumbers start to taste bad once it starts getting really hot outside, but they never have. And then this other one is really fun. It's technically a melon, but it's the Armenian yard-long cucumber, and it literally will get like a yard long. They're huge, and they look kind of like this. And I love these because you can harvest them young, like an English cucumber. It'll eat like an English cucumber, and the skin to it is really, really tender. So you don't have to peel it, or you can let it grow and get really big, and then it's like it's a melon. So at that point, it's sweet, but it's really mild flavored. And you can just scoop it out, and it's a melon at that point. So it's like, if you forget one and let it get too big, it's not like, well, now I gotta feed it to the animals. No, you can still really enjoy it. We will freeze it, or we will just put it in a fruit salad. It's really good. So that's one of my favorites. And then I'll just do the traditional, lots of those kind of cucumbers. Herbs. Here is some oregano. A lot of these, if you plant once, they usually, unless you get a really hard freeze, do not die. So like my oregano, my rosemary, and my thyme, they're still growing in my garden. I mainly got these to plant and sell as plants. Genovese basil is my favorite basil for cooking Italian dishes, along with opal basil. Here's purple ball basil. It's like an opal. But what we really like, what do we like to do with this, Devona?
We make it into tea, and I love it.
Yes. So if you do anything new this year, please plant basil and make basil tea. And if you do this purple one, there's this chemical reaction that happens when you add lemon juice to it.
Pink.
It does. It turns hot pink. So you'll make a tea with this. It's just hot water and this. You let it steep, and then you put honey in it, and once you pour in the lemon juice, it like changes colors before your eyes. It is crazy. I just love it. And here's the purple opal basil. So I plant a lot of purple basil purely for this purpose. And I'm gonna see this year if we can dry it, because so far it's like we can only have it in the summer. So I wonder if I dehydrate it and like dry it out and save it in tea bags, if maybe we could make basil tea all year, because we love it. Like, we would drink it like most traditional Americans would drink soda. Just have it. It is so good. And I got a lot of basil purely for the tea making purpose. Like, I have Thai sweet basil, makes really good basil tea, but I also got cinnamon basil, is really good. And this one makes a good hot tea too. And you can smell it. Like, I planted all of these before, and you can like smell the cinnamon. Like, it is amazing. You can smell, like, you can tell what all these are just by smelling it. Lime basil is a good one. Lemon basil is this one. And then we've got thyme. Are you helping? Good job. We've got dill, and I like doing the bouquet version. It just seems to grow better for me. We've got more lemon basil. I've got lemon balm. Let's see, I'm trying to get past the remakes. Chives, I really love growing chives, and the flowers are edible, so it's fun to have as a garnish on soups and stuff. More basil, and then oregano. I think we already did that one. So just lots of traditional ones. I plant pretty much any kind of basil I can get my hands on. because we drink so much basil tea. It is so good. The girls love going out there and picking it. And if you put enough of the purple basil in, it has a chemical reaction and it is so fun, and it's hot pink and it's just great. I love it. Squash. Now the only difference between a summer squash and a winter squash is when it tastes good. So a summer squash and a winter squash are the same like genetically as a plant, but one tastes better young and one tastes better old. And so like a pumpkin is going to taste better when it has that time to fully grow and develop in flavor, whereas things like a summer squash taste a lot better when they're really young and tender and the rind hasn't gotten really hard. So that's really the only difference, is when you harvest it. So this is more of a winter squash, is what they call them when they get hard. This is my favorite, is a candy roaster. Like if I want to make pumpkin to freeze that I'm going to put in pumpkin bread, pies, anything like that, this is it. This is the one. It's the MVP. It is the sweetest, and it's just so easy to handle where the shape is the way it is. It fits in my oven really easily. This is it. And I can actually buy these grown locally, which I also really like. So if they fail, I can buy them. Smacked my lemon tree there. This is a really diverse squash. It is usually called a tromboncino squash, but it's also called rampicante. And it is a zucchino, so it's kind of in the zucchini family, but it has a slightly different shape and they get huge. And these I really like because they are by far the most resistant plant in my garden, squash wise, for squash beetles. You're just really going to town over here, aren't you? They're really resistant to squash beetles, so when all my other ones have died out, those are usually still going. And these taste really good young, or you can let them harden and then you can have them all winter. So they're one that's actually really good both ways, and it's probably the only squash I've come across other than maybe a butternut that is the same way, that it's really good young or it's really good as a winter squash. And again, butternut. They have little mini butternut ones I want to get my hands on, where they're full size, like little. I think those would be really fun to grow. I love growing like the big white pumpkins, more for decoration, but we'll still eat them. We always grow spaghetti squash. One of my favorites to eat, like for soups, is this strawberry crown. There's also one that looks like this that my cousin sent to me that I love, called Musc de Provence, and it's really good too. We also will always grow a few jack-o'-lantern pumpkins, not many because they taste bad, but they're good for carving. And one of my dreams, I've never done it, is to grow a 100-pound pumpkin. Like I want to grow like a fair pumpkin where it's like so huge you got to get a truck. Like I want to grow a massive pumpkin and like win a medal at the fair. Like I'll know I've made it, like when that happens, like when I have such a huge pumpkin that I can enter it into the fair. Like that's like a bucket list item for me. I know that's probably weird, but like I'll know I've made it as a gardener when that happens. So it's yet to happen, so Lord, we pray. No, so we'll see, maybe in this packet. We grew these last year and they were really fun. Potty Moran squash. This is also a winter squash. And I really like these. This is a honey boat squash. And then I'll also just do the traditional zucchini. There is, what's it called? You found some grass in there? There is another kind of zucchini. When I find it, I'll show it to you guys, but it's like a gray zucchini and it's really good too. I like it better because it's just more tender. And then we'll also do straight neck yellow summer squash. I'm out of those seeds, so I need to grab those. All right, can you help me put these back? I have discovered something in gardening, and that is the category of personal melons. So before gardening and really getting into all of these different seeds you can get, only really knew about like cantaloupe, watermelon, like honeydew, like the big melons that like feed a bunch of people. I did not realize that there's this whole category of melons out there that I had just never even heard of called personal melons, and it's like a little 1 to 2 person sized melon, and it's almost kind of like you would think of an apple, but it's a melon, and there's a ton of them, and so I'm excited. I planted some the last 2 years, and I keep finding more, and so as I keep finding them, I keep planting them. And one of those that I really, really loved last year is this Kiku chrysanthemum melon, and it almost looks like a little softball or baseball, and we'll get it and just like either bring a knife with us, or we'll find something and hit it and crack it open. Same thing we'll do with this one. My favorite is the Kajari melon. It's a lot like, I would say, a honeydew crossed with a cantaloupe, and they're really good chilled. I love these. And this is a new one I have not tried. It's a personal melon, and it's called the Tigger, and it just looks really fun. So I don't know what it tastes like. I'll tell you later. Let's see. Oh, you're gonna hold that for me? This is another personal melon I had not tried, and I'm probably saying it wrong. Charantice? I don't know. We'll let you know about it, but it looks really fun.
Can I tell them about the melon?
Yes, this is Devona's that she plants every single year. What is that, Devona?
It's a yellow watermelon.
Yeah.
It tastes just like red watermelon.
Okay.
But it's just like a different color because it's like,
It's like a red watermelon, but it's yellow?
Yeah, it's like red watermelons, but yellow. And it has like around.
Yeah.
It's around it.
Yeah.
But the red watermelons have the watermelon seeds have black seeds.
Yeah. So one thing I really like about these yellow watermelons is like all of the watermelons I grow out there are not seedless watermelons, obviously. And so it's really time consuming to take the seeds out of it when I go to serve it to people. But these yellow watermelons, unless you let them get overly ripe, like to save the seeds, when they taste the best, the seeds are actually still young and a little immature. And therefore it's like almost like the seeds in a seedless watermelon, where it's really easy to eat. You don't have to take the seeds out. And then we have just like a normal everyday watermelon. And then my favorite cantaloupe to grow are these Amish melons. And we'll grow that one too.
So about this red watermelon, so you see how it has those black seeds? So it might be a little hard for you to see. But it does have black seeds in it that it shows. And that's what I like about different kinds of watermelon, because the yellow watermelon has just like white seeds, but this one has like white and black.
As far as beans go, I only really have one to show you, and it's like a big bag of beans. These are Blue Lake bush beans. There's also a Kentucky Wonder that grows really well around here. There are 2 kinds of beans you can get. One grows like a bush, like it will just kind of get about this tall, and then it's like a one-time thing, like all it grows is what it grows. Or you can grow it in a vine, and it has to be trellis, but those, it's like as you keep picking, they keep growing. So a lot of times what I'll do with these bush beans is when I plant them, I'll do 2 rounds. So I'll plant them in one place, and then 2 weeks later I'll plant more somewhere else, and then that way I'll have them ready. I'll have 2 weeks to harvest and process them, and then I'll have a whole other batch that's ready. But what's great about them too is like once they're done, you can pull it up. So if you have some things you want to switch out and grow more of in the summer, like if you want to start more zucchini plants midsummer, you can start it where you've finished these and you've pulled them out. My main bean that's my favorite is a turkey craw bean, and I have those in a bag downstairs. They were actually created in the Appalachian Mountains, which is where I'm at, if I'm not mistaken. But they were my grandmother's favorite bean, and I like them because they have almost like a meaty turkey flavor to them. And you do have to string them. So like when you harvest them, you got to pull the ends off and string them. So they are a lot of work, but I will can so many of those beans every summer, and that's what we eat multiple times a week. It's not that much work when you think about what it gives you in the end, and I'm willing to do the extra work to get that really good flavor out of the beans. Another one that's really fun, they have yard long beans. I need to get some more seeds for those, but it's literally these beans that get really, really, really long, like literally yards long. And they have them in all sorts of colors. My favorite are the really dark purple ones, but they actually eat more like a noodle. So you can put them in a pan. They're not good boiled. You really got to stir fry them because they're kind of waxy, but they're really good. If you I would say just put it with a stir fry. So they're really good. I really like those. I think our last category is, because I don't grow corn, you have to grow a lot of corn, or at least a decent amount, if you want it to germinate really well. And I've done it over and over again, and I've never been crazy with the outcome. I do not like to spray things onto my garden, and because of that I would get worms and different things. I know there are organic methods, but basically it was going to get really expensive for me to grow corn if I was going to have to buy all these organic sprays and stuff to control the little worms and all these different things. And there's lots of local farmers around here that grow lots of really good sweet corn, and so I just buy it from them, and it ends up saving me a lot of money and time, and it gives me a lot of space in my garden to grow other things. So I don't grow corn. If you're looking into that, sorry. My bad. Flowers. And I used to not be a big flower grower because I kind of thought it was a waste of money if you don't get like a return on it. But then I realized like how magical and beautiful it makes the garden to have flowers throughout it. I love having cut flowers on my table. And it's also really beneficial to my vegetables because they attract pollinators to the garden, which will then, while they're there looking at my beautiful flowers, they will pollinate my veggies while they're there, and it just becomes a pollinating paradise, if I do say so myself. So I love the flowers, and a lot of these flowers are either edible or have medicinal properties. So that makes me really excited as well. So don't believe the lie in your head that flowers are not worth it, and you are worth planting flowers. I saw this quote the other day. The person who was all worried was talking to their friend in the garden, and they were talking about the news and all these things, and they said to their friend in the garden, what do you think this next year is going to bring? And then that person said, I think it's going to bring flowers. And they're like, why do you think that? Sorry, she dropped her blanket. Devona, can you, wait, I think I got it. There you go.
I love flowers.
And they were like, why do you think that? And they said, because I'm planting flowers. So I just love that. Like, you know what? It's bringing hope. It's giving hope. It's giving joy. And it's like, you know, you got to have a little faith whenever you plant a garden. But yeah, I feel like that's me to an extent. This is hyssop. It's Arcado Pink.
Well, actually, so you know, this came from a tree that I climbed, and when we like crunch it up and smell it, it smells really good.
Oh, can I smell? Ooh, it does smell really good. This is, I'm probably gonna say this wrong, ageratum or ageratum, but it's balls mixed, and I just thought that was really pretty. Here, girls, I gotta read it as we do it. These are African blue disc daisies. I have a lot of Shasta daisies in my front landscaping, so I didn't buy any of those. I love, if you like zinnias, you've got to check out these Queen Lime zinnias. This is the red color, but they have all different colors, and they're just absolutely gorgeous. All right, if I've already said it, we can't pick it up, okay? Because we're going to get it all mixed up. This is lemon bee balm. It is medicinal. It has a lot of really good medicinal purposes. You can make different salves and things like that with it. These I just thought were really pretty. These are pink pink shades paper daisies. I'm planting a lot of extra flowers this year, and that is because my sister Hannah is getting married, and we are trying to grow a bunch of the flowers for her wedding in order to save some money and to have more unique looking flowers. So I got a lot of like wedding-y looking flowers that are more of like the pinks or more muted tones. And so I have more than I normally do, but that is why. Do you want to let mommy do it, okay? Okay. These are, if I can read, Apricot Lemonade Cosmos. And I think I have these somewhere else too. These are Apricotta Cosmos. And I've done these before, but I think they were called something else, but they look exactly the same. These are Double Champagne Hollyhocks. I thought this would be a really good wedding flower. This is Aster, and it's a pastel mix. I just thought that was really pretty. And these are Bloody Mary nasturtiums. Nasturtiums are actually edible, and they have a bit of like a spicy wasabi flavor. So I love to make spring rolls and put these in it, and you can like see the flower from the outside, and then when you get it, it's like a pop of like that wasabi spice. I just have more like assorted pink cosmos in both of these. I've got lupine, Russell blend. I have some more, I think those are cactus zinnias. I can't read it. Yeah, cactus zinnias. Those are really pretty. I have a bunch more of these. These are trailing nasturtiums, so I like to grow them on either side of a vine or a trellis of like beans. And then, baby, I gotta read it first before you put it up. These are Purple Queen and Pink Contessa. A lot of these at the end are ones I got on sale from last year. And those are the same. And those last ones, someone didn't let me read before she put them up. Can I read it? Dancing Petticoat Cosmos. I like to grow even more zinnias than I showed you just here. There's some really, really big ones I like to grow multicolored, and I grow almost all the colors of the Queen Line zinnias. There's also some flowers in here. Locally, we have in Asheville, which is about a 45-minute drive from me, a store called So True Seed, and I love going there. They produce a lot of their own seeds, and this is a pack I got from them of a herbal tea garden, and a lot of these have medicinal benefits as well. So that's one reason I got it. The first is anise hyssop. It is a flower, and it's called like nature's Tylenol. So if you make a tea with this, it's supposed to be a pain reliever. This is German chamomile. Chamomile is one of my favorite teas. You harvest the little white flowers and dry them out. You can store it and have chamomile tea. It has anti-anxiety and relaxing things in it, properties to it. So like we will drink chamomile tea with a little honey. Maybe don't shake the table, okay? Right before we go to bed, and it'll help us sleep better. Another one we talked about is bee balm. I believe this is mostly skin properties, like if you make a salve with it. But there's a lot of different things I know you can do with that. Borage is also one to have good medicinal properties, and it's really good for the garden. Bees love borage. The little flowers are really beautiful. They're white, blue, purple, and you can eat them, and they almost have like a little melon flavor to them. They're really good. This is Tulsi basil. It has medicinal properties as well and makes a really good tea. And then this is calendula marigolds. And calendula are also really good. A lot of people will dry out the flower heads or even just immediately put it in some oils and make a salve out of it as well, mixed with plantain and different things like that. So I think that that's it. I say that like there wasn't much. But yeah, I think that's it. That covers our garden and what's to come. I'm very excited. There's a few things I'm out of, like my dragon beans, and I didn't have the turkey craw beans up here, and a few different things like that. We also grow a lot of sunflowers, and I have those seeds. I know where they're at. I just forgot to bring them up here. But we just pretty much grow all the different sunflower seeds we can get our hands on. I also have a bunch of bulbs in the garden that are going to be growing that I'll show you guys. We've got like peonies and dahlias. What else do we have? We have gladiolas, ranunculus, hollyhocks. We've got some elephant ears out there. Yeah, we've got lots of other things that aren't necessarily a seed. We've got garlic already out in the garden growing. So, oh, you go outside with the cool kids? Can you tell everybody bye? No. Are they going outside without you? Do you want mommy to take you outside? They're going outside? Oh, you see a bird? Yeah. So thank you guys for joining us. I'm so excited for the gardening season. I highly encourage you to check out some of these different seed websites where you can buy amazing heirloom seeds from around the world. I will post my favorite ones in the description down below, but please check out places like Mi Gardener, rareseeds.com, which is the Baker Creek heirloom seed. Any of these like black seed packages you saw, that's where I got that. There's a lot of different places online. Because I have a baby about to cry, I'm gonna wait and just write it below. But thank you for joining me for Talking Seeds. If you have any questions, any answers to my questions, or anything you'd like to contribute, please comment down below. I hope you all have a wonderful gardening season, and I can't wait to do it together. Can you say bye-bye? Bye-bye.